I forgot to include a few things on the picture from the end of the last video, so let's update. First, Bobby Lashley just seems to want attention. Storyline wise, he's threatening to quit, and he just wants attention from some sort of authority, be it ownership or Bischoff. Notice how his line shares conflicts, but runs completely separate from Mick Foley. Does this mean we could be seeing an alliance in the future? That's for the writers to decide. Next we have Sting. Now Sting and Jeff Hardy are still pretty much in the shadows, the mysterious subplots yet to come in the sun. And when they do, we have no idea where they're going. Exciting, huh? Now that the picture is updated, let's proceed with our discussions. Here in the wrestling fan community, we sometimes like to focus on the business side of pro wrestling. Ratings, buy rates, merchandise sales, reported revenues. But for this video, let's try to put that aside temporarily and focus on the creative and artistic side of wrestling. Because I was thinking about pro wrestling recently and something dawned on me. D-Generation X has no reason to exist. I mean, think about it. Back in the late 90s, DX was formed on the basis of pushing the boundaries. Shawn Michaels was sticking the Canadian flag up his nose, they were mooning people, they were invading Nitro, they were spraying women with super soakers, women were flashing the crowd. It was like a youth movement. It was like, we just got tired of doing what you told us to do. It was edgy. It was edgy stuff. Now though, Raw is rated PG, the product is for kids, both guys are in their 40s, and Shawn Michaels has found his fate. It's like, what are they even doing here, right? D-Generation X these days seems to be hanging around for no reason. I mean, at SummerSlam they're fighting Legacy, and then at Survivor Series they're fighting John Cena. You got two guys coming out smiling, waving their glow sticks, and now they're hanging around Hornswoggle, the world's littlest member. Dude, creatively speaking, this gimmick is done. It's over. It has no reason to exist. A similar argument could be made for John Cena. I'm not talking about the wrestler, I'm talking about the fictional character. Why is he even here anymore? I mean, there was a time when being a 4-time world champion was considered a lot, right? Like, that was a whole career right there. Cena is 32 years old, and he's already a 7-time world champion. Why does he even want the belt anymore? What more is there left to prove? Why does he even want an 8th title reign? To rub it in? In my opinion, this character as is pretty much done, finished, and can be extended only one of two ways. Either number one, you take him out of the main event title scene and give him something new to pursue, something new, a new reason to keep wrestling. Or number two, you turn him heel, where now the reason he wants an 8th title reign is because he's a heel. He's doing it for the greed, the personal fame and fortune, like Edge. Because as it stands, as a babyface main event title contender, like D-Generation X, this character has no reason to exist. Now let's move on to TNA. While I understand that there may be some fans who are opposed to the NWO Wolfpac, the Outsiders' presence in TNA, I argue that they have a reason to exist. They have a purpose, given the storyline chosen. Now, TNA could have gone with a million other storyline possibilities regarding Hogan's entrance to TNA, but that's water under the bridge. This is the one they chose, and I think it has a lot of potential. Let's take a closer look. The central conflict in the selected storyline seems to be the tug-of-war and question over Hogan's allegiance. Hogan arrives and talks about how he is ready to support the future, to move forward, and to help make TNA #1 in the world. He seems sincere. In order for there to be a conflict, in order for there to be a tug-of-war, however, there needs to be another side. There needs to be temptation. And who better for this purpose than them? In my opinion, there is no other choice. If you're going to go in this storyline direction, there is nobody else. Between good and evil, between the future and the past, the Wolfpac serves a purpose and have a central reason to exist in this storyline, at least temporarily. After watching TNA Impact again and discovering more of the nuances of the show, and I can't believe I'm saying that for a modern day wrestling program, the nuances of the show, I'm beginning to think this latest episode may just be a work of art. I mean, for example, take Eric Bischoff's brilliant promo in the ring. Hogan and the Wolfpac, they look like they're about to fight when Bischoff comes out, stands on Hogan's side, and says there's been a communication breakdown. X-Pac asks for an explanation, and here's how Bischoff responds. And this is such great acting. Eric Bischoff looks at the Wolfpac, and he says, everybody, and he raises an eyebrow, has to earn his position in the company. Then he starts nodding at the Wolfpac and gives them this look. It was almost like a coded message, like wink wink, like what is this? Actual subtext in professional wrestling? To the crowd though, who I guess can't see facial expressions as well, this seems to come across as a babyface line, and they actually start to clap. This is awesome! Meanwhile, Hall and Nash seem to get the real message. Hall gives Bischoff the thumbs up, and Nash says, "We hear you loud and clear. See you later." And then they leave. The crowd seems to continue to think that the babyface won, so they continue clapping. What a beautiful scene. What a work of art. Watch it again for yourself. Now, given Bischoff's amazing performance and the layered storyline TNA seems to be setting up for, to me this brings to question Hogan's apparent botch earlier in his promo. Was he backstage all day? Or was he in the limousine? Now, I'm not making excuses for TNA. If this was a botch, then it was a stupid botch. But, given TNA's recent attention to detail apparently, was it a botch? Or was it just clever writing? Let's take a deeper look. Early in the show, we see what appears to be Hogan's limo pulling up. Before it enters the arena, however, we see a masked man getting into the limo from another limo. Note that we never see Hogan actually coming out of the limo. Ric Flair is shown coming out of his limo, but Hogan is never shown coming out of his. Hogan's name is then announced, he walks into the Impact Zone, and talks about how he's been backstage all day. To me, the key is this. Because whether Hogan was in the limo or not, in my opinion, directly impacts the character's direction, which is the whole point of the storyline. Heel or babyface. The whole reason why he came out in Hollywood colors seems there just to further this exact question. So if this was actually not a botch, if this was actually just clever writing, then I'm sorry. TNA just rules now. Thank you, TNA, and thank you, Eric Bischoff, for getting me back into wrestling.